American football in Finland.
The voice in your ears is Perfect Purvis, and this is American Football in Finland. Today, I'm joined by my co-hosts, Coach Q, Spencer Cutland, and Chris Green. We got a whole new show, fellas. What's going on, guys? Everybody say what's up.
What's up? What's going on?
What's up? Mita Kulu.
How's it going, guys? You good?
The AFF podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Podbean, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Seriously, though, American Football in Finland is currently available on more than 25 different platforms. So wherever you listen, be sure to rate us. Anything less than 5 stars will tell us that you are a hater. Welcome to Season 7. It's Season 7 of AFF, and just want to take the time personally to apologize to our audience for the lack of podcast consistency last season. We got caught up in the social media game, likes, clicks, and all that. And we lost sight of what really matters, talking football. So we're back to the basics this year. We'll be here each week, giving people what they want. So before we even get into the show, let's talk about off-season. How was everybody's off-season? Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing and how excited you are to be back.
Hey, my off season has been great. I became a dad.
Oh,
So,
congratulations!
Yeah.
On
Congrats.
Yeah. So I got a little broke roommate now. But yeah, that's how my off season went, man. It's pretty much definitely different for me from what I'm used to. But new life.
What about you, Spence? What's going on with you?
My first season without football, which is odd, but we move on and all that jazz. So that's why I wanted to come back into this. So, get back into it in some facet. But yeah, just living basic life, to be honest. Nothing too special, nothing going on. The weight's going up, the age is going up. So need some youth back in me. So hopefully we get it from the pod.
Yeah. What about you, Chris?
Well, I've just secured my first permanent teaching job as well in the off season. So I'm teaching PE full time now here in the UK, living the dream.
Okay.
Yep. And I've been commentating on the U Bullets University live streams on their home games, every game this season. And they had a lot of American scholars this year, so it was a real good level of football. And they got to the championship game and won the championship game against UON. And it was a fantastic game, a real good spectacle for the sport as well. If anyone managed to catch that, it was a good game.
I mean, if anybody knows me, y'all know in the all season, I hibernate. It's cold as shit in Finland. So excuse my language. I stayed in Lahti. This is where I was. I don't like to tell my business. Everybody else is sharing, so I'll share a little bit. December through January, I was out of here. I was actually in the States, in Texas and Miami, doing some work, getting that good weather in. Came back to this, finish winter. Took a quick trip to Amsterdam with the AFF Team Revolution 7-on-7 squad. Almost won a championship out there. That was super fun, working with the kids. Haven't done that in a while. But other than that, taking care of my family and hibernating. That's me. If y'all want to see anything else I'm doing, follow me on the Instagram at Perfect Purpose, and that's how you follow me. So we'll get on into the show, guys. We like to preview each team before the season. So today we'll talk about the Porvoo Butchers, who made the playoffs last season as the number 3 seed. Coach Q, tell us how the Porvoo Butchers can make the playoffs this year. What are some of the biggest changes for that team?
The biggest change is Brandon Gwinner going there. And I think he said that he still had some stuff to prove in the Maple League when somebody asked him, why did he choose to go to Porvoo? My question would be, why did he go to Porvoo? Knowing the situation that he was coming into as far as depth and experience that a lot of the younger guys have, they do have some hopefuls. They do have some guys there that I think are going to carry on that Porvoo tradition from before. But Brandon, I think he needs some weapons. It's going to be an uphill battle. Last year, we didn't think they were going to be in the playoffs either. I think maybe one or two of us might have said they might be the 4th team, or possibly. But
I want to ask this because you're setting it up. This is my question: is Brandon Gwinner capable of replicating what Jabari Harris did? That's what we're asking. because he's going into, like you said, same situation. And I don't want to hear anything about, well, he had RJ. RJ got hurt. Got hurt, and Jabari Harris put that team on his back last year. We had him very high into the MVP voting.
Yeah.
He put his team on that back and put them in the playoffs. Can Brandon Gwinner put the Porvoo Butchers in the playoffs? Random question in the middle of the episode.
Random question. I think he can. I really do think he can. Seeing what he did at Wassa, he might have had a little better players. I mean, obviously he had Alpha, so anything is possible if he's on the field. But I think Brandon can. I think he has those intangibles to always go out and give 100%. And depending on what they putting around him or what he has to work with, I think he'll maximize it. Will they be number 3, number 4? Who knows? But Porvoo, to everybody that doesn't know, Porvoo won 6 championships in a row too. They're not just like some team that's just, compete sometime. Like they got a winning history too. So at some point they're going to rise back or start rising back to what they used to be. With who at the quarterback, we won't know. But I think Brandon brings a hunger, a fight to them.
I'm thinking about the Butchers and how you said like they had the 6 running. The Butchers are the Dallas Cowboys of the Maple League.
It wasn't that long ago though, is what I'm saying. Like it really wasn't that long
compared to 1995.
There's the saying.
Right.
There's the saying.
Still getting going on almost 20 years though. We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting up there now.
Go ahead, Spin. Sorry.
There's the saying like, "What have you done for me lately?" In the case of the Butchers, is "What have you done for me this decade?"
Yes.
I fully respect what the Butchers did. Butchers back in the day, and I did. And even
before
in my
2010,
I hated playing the Butchers. Yeah, because the Butchers played tough. They played hard, in 2014. But from there, there's been like I hate to say it because I'm a Sepinen big fan. I love the guy, but he's been in a tough spot the last few years because the Butchers haven't really put the pieces together. One thing I will say is that I can hear in the background Jabari Harris saying, "Keep my name out your mouth right now." I can say, "Don't you go and compare me to anyone." But yeah, like I'm totally with Q on this. Like, can Brandon Gwinner step up? He was in a tough spot in Vaza. Vaza in a rebuild. But for me, I think it's a lateral step. He puts himself on exactly the same page that he was in Vaza. And this year, he won't have Alpha Jallo to bail him out. Don't get me wrong. If he can make a connection with Mikko Seppänen, he'll have that outlet. Seppänen puts up numbers year on year. Again, I ride that guy to the end. He's my all-time wide receiver GOAT of this league. For me, it's a lateral step. I think it'll just be copy-paste. He'll make throws here and there. He'll have to make a lot of plays with his feet. What they don't have in the Butchers, again, is a defense to help him out. So he's going to be on the field a lot. That's going to be a key factor in like how successful he can be.
What other big changes do the Butchers have, Hugh?
Like we just said, Brandon Gwinner was the main one. Another change they made, they signed Dante Edwards. Dante Edwards is an edge rusher, linebacker, running back. Played in my NAIA conference, played at Benedictine College. So he's from the NAIA, from the Heart of America conference in college. So he comes from a competitive college culture. So I know he'll probably come, he'll come with it. Probably a guy that loves to play both ways. From everything that I read about him, he sounds like an energetic, like I'll do whatever I need to do for my team. That'll give them some help defense with what they already have. So that's a big change because they haven't signed any, at least the last year, they didn't sign a linebacker. They had linebackers, but they didn't sign a fresh linebacker.
Yeah,
so
new guy.
Yeah, new guy. Well, it'd be nice to see what he brings to them. But besides Gwinner and them signing, 1 or 2 other imports, they've been pretty quiet about what their plans are for the season. So it'll be interesting to see what Miko and all those guys come up with.
What are some of the keys to success? What are some of the ways the Butchers can, squeeze into the playoffs this season?
I think the Butchers have to believe, for one, that it's possible to go back to the playoffs. With the team they had last year, I'm pretty sure to a lot of people, they thought it was impossible to see them in the playoffs. So they have the people and the roster to do it. They just need to believe in themselves and actually, win some games. The best way to show people what you're made of is to win.
They can win some games in this league with this roster.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to act like it's impossible in case you guys don't know. The Butchers, I'm not saying they will win these games, but their team can match up against UNC. They can match up against Kotka. I think, this is just me, I can't speak for you guys. I think they definitely can match up against Semi-finalists and even the Wolverines team. I think they match up well. I'm not saying they can beat those teams, but I could see them going toe-to-toe with all four of those teams. You beat each of those teams once, beat some of them twice, you're in the playoffs. Still one from the Roosters or the Steelers, you're in the playoffs. It's 6 to get in, right? Ain't that what we play? We play 6 to get in.
Yeah.
We play 12 games, 6 to get in, guys. And I think the Butchers can definitely do that. What other things do you think they have to do to be successful?
Win games against good teams. Just like what you just said, basically, like they're going to have to, at some point, they're going to have to, whether it's in the regular season or in the playoffs, they're going to have to beat a team that's stacked up better than them, that's probably a better team. They're just going to have to beat them. They're going to have to get a few upsets to have a chance. But they can do it. Like you said, they can do it. They're playing against a new Coca team. They're playing against a Wolverines team that doesn't have much depth. In games like that, those are the games that you can steal. Those are the games that you got to take advantage of because they're going to be tired when you're going to be tired. They won't get to switch out linebackers and D-line all the time. So they'll be going through the same things that your team is going through. You just got to make those big plays consistently every game. And if you can do that, you can pull off a win. Like literally, you can pull off a win. Playing the Crocs, they got to limit Powell from dominating them. If they can do that, they got a chance. I think they just have to come up with a way to win, steal some games, should I say, and they'll have a chance.
What about you, Spence? Anything you think? Keys for this team? Anything you want to add?
I think the Butchers need to go back to their kind of like fighting mentality. They need to get that underdog kind of mentality going. Like you said, they need to win key games. And I've got it as the Roosters and the Steelers are like the top tier. They're the ones that everyone wants to beat because, they're back-to-back Maple Bulls now. But then you've got the Crocs and the Wolverines. I put the Wolverines there this year. Yeah, they've signed a lot of players, but the Crocs and the Wolverines are always in the grey zone. They can lose games and they can win games. Yeah. And then you've got UNC, Waza, and then the Butchers. Well, what the Butchers need to do is get this underdog and fighting mentality throughout the whole team to really push. They might not have the best skill set, but I think they can win on that desire and that fight mentality. They could steal a win against the Crocs. They could steal a win against the Wolverines if they're dysfunctional or not operating to their potential, which we've seen in the past. And then from there, you're in the playoffs. And then who said that you can't go? There's some question marks about the Steelers. Will they have the same power? There's a question mark about the Roosters. Will they have the same dynasty mentality or efficiency in the way they operate? I think there is a way that the Butchers could turn it around, but I think it's more of if they just turn up the games and go through the motions, I don't think they get anywhere, and they're in a danger to really fall off. But if they've got this fighting mentality or like a culture of like, right, let's just hit them in the mouth and go full speed, I think they could sneak some wins, and that puts them in the playoffs and that puts them in contention to do something maybe some of us didn't see at the start of the season.
Coach Q, what are a couple of obstacles that they'll have to overcome to be successful this year?
Being the underdogs. It's like you're in that position every season. And at some point you have to establish that, look, this is not going to be us. Like, we're not going to come into every game being the underdogs. At some point, people need to start fearing you. They need to start worrying about you. They need to start watching film on you more. And they dated back to 2017. They were still the number 3 team in the playoffs. So they've always had this fight about them to get them to the playoffs. But what can you do when you get there? And now they need to get over that hump of like, we need to win a playoff game at this point. It's not whether they can make it to the playoffs. It's can you win a playoff game? They got beat real bad last playoffs. Like I think it was like 40-something to 7. Wasn't much of a competition, but they got to get back to that. They got to get back to, hey, believing that we can be one of the top teams and not just say it, but just show it.
Still sound like the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
I promise you, I ain't trying to hate on them. The similarities are there. A great franchise, great organization, always a good team. You always have high expectations. Even if you don't expect it, they're going to be in the mid. But does it really matter if, like you said, they don't win a playoff game? Don't be the Dallas Cowboys. That's my advice to all Porvoo Butcher players and fans. Don't be the Dallas Cowboys. Are there any other options?
Yeah, that was just my main was there.
I think here on the show, I mean, we all feel like this is one of those teams where I don't want to admit it, but I feel like we secretly root for this team no matter what. It's a great organization. They have their personality. We know who the Butchers are. They're going to be a finished player team, and they're going to try their hardest. They win some, they lose some. But at the same time, I don't want them to be the Dallas Cowboys. Go out there, win a playoff, get back in the Maple Bowl. IQ said, establish your dominance. Stop being an underdog. This is a team that, with the right matchup, if they bring in enough players, I feel like they're 2 or 3 imports away from being an easy playoff team. I feel like they're making it more difficult than it has to be because they keep not bringing in 2 or 3 more imports. This is a team that refuses to bring in 5 imports. If they bring in 5, immediately the Wolverines start looking less sexy as a playoff team. That's who they start to match up against very well. You know, the Crocodiles will always be the Crocodiles. You can't count them out. This season, I think, is a make or break season for them. I think this is a season that Mikko Seppänen puts this team on his back, and they either show up every week and make it tough for anybody they play, or they let it ride. If they let it ride, this could be their last year in the Maple League. That's how I see it. That's how close this team is. They could either be a playoff team or they could be in Division I next year.
I think you're exactly right, though. You know, like, I think people do secretly, you know, root for the Butchers, like, subconsciously. At least when I've looked back on my career, I know that there were 2 games that I always hated because of the physicality, which was Total Trojans and then the Porvoo Butchers. You know, they're going to go there, they're going to smash you in the mouth, they're going to be in your face all the time. And they had that sort of like, you know, you're coming to our house. There's not many places, at least when I played, that were like our house, like this is our place. But I know that, like, when we went to Porvoo's place, it was like, yeah, okay, we're in for a battle here, regardless of whether you were favorites or whether, you know, you ended up beating them out. The first downs, the first sort of quarter was always like, who's gonna, the battle of attrition, who's gonna hit and set the precedent, and they always did well. Can they do that? That's hard to implement on a season. You know, that comes through culture, that comes through a journey of the same players growing an identity. But if they can channel that energy, they can do well. It's just whether they can do that on what they've done in the off season. I don't know what kind of training they've done. We've mentioned a few additions they've made, but like, there's nothing that stands out for me on the defensive side that's like, oh shit, if they sign a really athletic linebacker that can really make an impact, I think they've got a real chance to, you know, upset some teams.
Bring back Mitch Daly from a couple seasons ago. Y'all remember that guy? That DB safety guy? I threw it out there. I hope somebody hears this on the podcast. Bring back Mitch Daly. You bring back a guy like that. That's exactly what you're looking for. And you're in this thing. That's it for this episode of American Football in Finland. Hope it was worth the listen. Any last words before we get out of here, guys? Q, you got anything you want to say to the people out there?
I'm just looking forward to the season. Looking forward to some great plays being made and seeing what team is going to edge out at the front.
First thing is for everyone to get their Ruutu subscription to make sure they don't miss all the games, so they know what we're talking about, and just get on the season and get excited, because like Q said, it's going to be a good one.
What about you, Chris?
I just can't wait for the season. It's definitely one of those years. I think it is still open. I don't think it's all going to be Kuopio. I think there's a few teams that are going to be in contention, and I can't wait to see those matchups this year. It's going to be great.
Yeah, we're excited for the season, man. Good luck to all the teams. If we say something you don't like, let us know. If we say something you do like, let us know. You know, we enjoy, you know, when people tell us we're doing a good job as well as when we're doing it bad. If you enjoy the show, please follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Podbean, or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to give us 5 stars as well. Anything less will let us know that you are a hater. You can also follow us on the gram and Facebook at American Football in Finland. Until next time, never forget
AFF.
We go.
American football in Finland.